Hello. Hi. Happy Sunday. Ah, I know. I'm late. I rescheduled this. Hello. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. What a day. Hello. Thanks for being here. We're going to be covering the David case right now. And then we're going to be covering Kenzie. So hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. We're just kind of doing like a little update. I haven't done a David update for a while. I think it's been maybe like a week or two. Um, so we're just gonna watch the recent interviews of the PI, and then we're gonna go through this David website that I have been using to get all the information in case updates. And then I like to go through a David Reddit as well, where they post a lot of information and they're seems to be somewhat reliable for the most part. And I really love that Reddit page. So I just like to kind of go through it with you guys. Sorry, I feel like there's a hair on my face. But anyways, thank you for being here. Please, please, please make sure you hit the like button, do all them YouTube things. Um, the reason that I am late is because I got some horrible news before I came on here about a friend, and that's maybe something we can talk about later in a different live. I do have it scheduled. So definitely make sure you turn on your notifications. Um, we're going to, like I said, get right into the PI interviews. There's two of them, both from one's from Law and Crime, one's from News Nation. I was hesitant to play the one from Law and Crime, but I think it's rather necessary. So, like I said, we're just going to watch a few interviews and then we're going to go through the website and just kind of go through the David case. As of right now, David has not been named like a suspect or charged with anything or let alone arrested. So, if you're not familiar with the David case, he is the singer where Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found deceased in his trunk in the trunk of his Tesla. I'm shook, to be honest, that nothing has come. Oh, wait, let me make sure my settings are right on the audio. Yeah, I'm shook that nothing has, I mean, that we haven't heard much more from law enforcement and that he hasn't been charged. I think, in my opinion, um, I'm thinking that he is responsible, but there's a lot of information on this case. If you guys aren't aware, there's like a lot of stuff that was found online by the internet sleuths. There's the age factor. There's him being on tour, her being found in the trunk, the level of decomposition of the body. There was a theory of perhaps she was pregnant, and he was an adult dating a minor again. So there's a lot of moving parts to this. She was a runaway, and the PI from the interview that we're going to watch, Stephen Fisher, he claims that he knows who was the last person to drive the Tesla. And so we're going to watch that interview first just to kind of kick it off. Um, there has to be in the arrest in the works for someone. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too. I think like they're close to it and maybe they just want to keep things close to the chest, that they don't need to be speaking about quite just yet. Shout out to everyone for being here. Shout out to all the members. I saw Debbie. Shout out to my mods, Cree, Abuelita's Journey. I saw Kara pop in here. Yeah, I got terrible news before I came on here. I'm sorry. I like pushed it out for an hour. So definitely um, make sure you're tuning in for the lives later today. Have they found a cause of death? No. And if they have one, they haven't exactly revealed yet. First Liberty says, I'm a firm believer in the presumption of innocence. And if Dave didn't do it, then that is the most unlucky SOB I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Thanks, Alsane. I think a lot of what we know so far points to blaming a specific person, but in this case, David, we do know that people are evil and we do know that people can get framed as well though, right? Like remember, Karen Reed actually really did happen before our eyes and amongst other cases too. They cannot make an arrest unless there is a cause of death. Exactly. But how did they know that she wasn't pregnant if they can't determine the cause of death because of the level of decomposition? That really blows my mind. Arrest him for being a PDF file. Yes, file him away in the system. I think that none, regardless of, I guess, if they can figure it out or not, who did it, he should be charged for being, what is it, statutory grape at that point? Is that what it would be? Let's watch this interview. Oh, I'll make myself the other way. Oh, sorry, dude. StreamYard's doing me dirty lately. Oh, there we go. Nope. Oh, now they don't even want you to see anything. Okay, that'll be good. You know, I have I have concerns with her home life and stuff. So for a minute, in my opinion, only allegedly, I was thinking that maybe um not that the family had anything to do with it, but I was thinking that maybe the whole runaway thing, bad home life, played a little bit more of a factor into things than we were thinking. Um, Rochelle says, I bet he has good lawyers. Yeah, I think his lawyer was someone that worked with like Harvey Weinstein, right? Or no, was I wrong? I know it was a big celebrity. Um, or bigger cases. Who is I covered this already too, but I can't remember. Short-term memory. Oh well. I'm trying to see what the name of his lawyer is. Sorry. Hold on one sec. Blair Burke, that's what it is. Prominent LA criminal defense attorney. She's known for representing numerous high-profile clients, yeah, including Harvey Weinstein, Kanye, Britney Spears, and Mel Gibson. Damn. The uterus wasn't decayed enough to prove a pregnancy. The toxicology is necessary to find anything at this point. That is wild. Can you guys see Epstein's lawyer? I thought that I had heard that too. Can you guys see it? Let me know. The video, I mean.
Officially as a suspect or even a person of interest, the internet started connecting the dots, or seemingly connecting alleged dots, between David and Celeste. Screenshots from Discord chats, live stream clips, old photos started circulating, all suggesting that they had been in contact. Maybe they were even in some kind of relationship. TMZ had reported those that were close to David thought that Celeste was 19 years old, that maybe there was a relationship going on, and fans have pointed out that both she and David had that same small shh tattoo on their fingers. And if that wasn't eerie enough, David has this unreleased song with Celeste in the title that's been reported. Everything has unraveled for David since the discovery. There's been a canceled tour date, pause on promotions for his upcoming album, drop brand deals. And while all of this is happening, David has been making some major legal and financial moves. He's retained Blair Burke, the powerhouse Hollywood defense attorney who's represented people like Harvey Weinstein. David transferred the
That's how you know I didn't watch it before you guys. I was like, I want to watch it with my friends. So yeah, they basically just said what I said.
Deeds to 2 Texas properties to his mother right after one of those houses was apparently swatted. This false reporting of a shooting and a dead body there. But now let's get to it. Okay, let's circle back to that Hollywood Hills rental property, how a private investigator, a PI, even got involved in this case. So according to LA Magazine, police had executed a search warrant on that property back on September 17th. So since David had been renting it for reportedly about $20,000 a month, a home that was owned by a man named Malden Trifonich. And officers reportedly collected electronics, computers. They searched the drains for traces of blood or tissue. At least that's the reporting from TMZ. Can't officially confirm that. But this homeowner had said that after he'd heard almost nothing from the LAPD about what they found, he was frustrated. And that is when he made his move and hired his own PI. He told TMZ and the Daily Mail that his family wanted answers about what might have happened in or around this home, and that he wasn't trying to interfere with the police investigation. He just didn't want to be left in the dark about what connections, if any, his property could have to all this. And TMZ reports that the LAPD has since seized surveillance footage from the same home, cameras that could show exactly who entered or exited the property. Now, this homeowner reportedly told the outlet that he hasn't even seen the footage himself out of respect for his tenant's privacy. He also claims the police still haven't given him a copy of the warrant or told him exactly what they took. So the big question now is what exactly happened in or around that home, right? And whether the private investigator hired by this landlord, this property owner, has found anything that could shed light on that timeline. And that is where we're heading next, okay? Just one more thing before we get to him, something that we've learned. LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman spoke out, confirmed the case is still under investigation. No case has been presented to his office yet. We're going to get into that a little bit. But now I want to bring on our special guest. I'm joined by private investigator Steve Fisher, who is hired by David's former landlord. Really appreciate you taking the time here to talk about this. First off, Steve.
Oh, wow, that's wild. I didn't know he was actually hired for this. I thought he was just looking into it as a true crime person. He was actually hired? Wow. Hey, Farmero, good to see you. It's been a minute. I know, Farmero. I don't want to get into this live, but we're definitely talking about it later. I'm sorry, Farmero. I know you were good friends with him. 20 grand a month. Holy crap, that's a ton for rent. Exactly. Oh, he was hired by the landlord. Yeah, that's wild.
How were you hired? How were you retained in this matter?
So originally, when the body was originally found, I had another missing persons case going in LA of a female, and we thought that could be that individual. And so I kind of stayed with the case for a little while until she was identified, and we knew it wasn't. And I had, discovered some other things, such as when the car was towed and the photos from it being towed and whatnot. And, the owner had gotten in touch with me of the house, and I shared some things with him, and it just kind of evolved from there. But one thing, I would say is he is the owner of the house. He wasn't David's landlord. David wasn't even on the lease, and the owner never even knew that David was in the house. It was actually Josh Marshall, his manager, who had leased the house.
But to be clear, David was living there, right?
Yes, he was definitely staying there. It just was not known to the owner.
Right. Okay. And by the way, I understand this is, an active investigation. There might be limited what you can share. But what exactly is he looking for in this? What exactly is this property owner? What kind of answers is he looking for?
So where really kind of evolved from was the search warrant was served, I believe, on the 17th or 18th. And it was a forced entry search warrant, meaning that nobody was home at the time. And they did not leave a copy of the warrant or of the return, the inventory list of the items that they took from the house. And it was really kind of born out of that. I was not officially retained at that time, but I helped him try to obtain that. And we told robbery homicide, hey, listen, no warrant was left behind. David was out on tour. Josh Marshall lives out of state, we found out. So the owner had his representative go to the house immediately after he found out about this. And there was no warrant, no return. So he really just wants to understand what of his property could have been taken and what the status of that is. And then also, this is troublesome when you learn something like this. All of a sudden you're thrown into this, and he feels absolutely horrible for Celeste's family. And he's like, if there's anything that involves, in and around my house that could help, then I want to discover that. And I'll tell you that there have been things that we've learned and we've turned right over to LAPD, but we think there's significant, things that could help.
Do you mean that there?
You know what? LAPD is staying so quiet for this case, far more quiet than I've ever known them to be about other cases, quite frankly, in my opinion. And, I have a lot of questions. Like, what about when the ticketing cop or whoever it was, ticketing officer, went around and ticketed the car? Like, was the body not in the car? I said this on the other live, like, was it not in the trunk? Did he not smell anything? Like, why did it only smell until it was at whatever the car was towed to, like the tow yard? something's off about this. If there's a suspected crime in my rental home, I bet I'd be looking at the camera footage. Why was the Tesla not reported stolen?
There might be evidence that a crime was committed at that house.
Not so much a crime, no. And I'll just be honest with you. We don't have any evidence that anything happened to Celeste at that house, but there's definitely evidence that we've collected that helps the timeline. We now have a much better understanding of when that Tesla arrived at that final parking spot. I'll tell you, I do have surveillance from different houses in the neighborhood showing the Tesla being moved. So things like that, and I'm not even saying that LAPD didn't have that. I'm sure they did, but we wanted to make sure, and we did some work and on the up-resing the footage to find out who was driving the vehicle. And there are some other items that were found at the house that weren't taken during the search warrant. And search warrants are limited, right? They can't just go take everything. It's what the judge, and we don't know how broad that search warrant was because we haven't seen it, and that's what we'd like to see. But there were some things that were not taken into custody of LAPD that we think are significant, and including digital media and some other things that really help nail down timeline and things like that.
You handed that over to LAPD. There's other.
We have literally the day that we the things that we've recovered, we've given to LAPD within 24 hours.
Do you know who was driving that car, that Tesla? You don't have to tell me, but do you know the identity?
Yeah, as far as it going to the final, that what we believe is the final parking spot where it was towed from, yes.
And that information's been communicated to law enforcement.
So it's been given to law enforcement. They're not going to tell us if they're confirming if that's a person or not. Robbery, homicide, the way they work is we'll take your information. We're not going to speak on it, so I don't know. But listen, it's very clear that that neighborhood is filled with surveillance cameras, and the timelines, once we learn those dates and we can see other things that were happening that were even public on Instagram and whatnot, were going on in those people's lives, it makes a lot of sense.
So let me ask you this. If you see when the car was parked there, have you seen anything to indicate that Celeste's body was transferred into that car after the car was parked there? Or in other words, do you believe that her body was in that car the minute it was parked in the location it was ultimately towed from?
So I'll say I have no evidence of a body being transferred before or after. There's no evidence of that at all. But I will say when it was moved to that position, it was already like that. So that car had not been used in a very long time. It was super dirty, caked on dirt. I'll tell you, this was in late July. So it's bizarre because we also got media that the car was used a lot. David even spoke about it in Instagram videos. He took it to a detail shop and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, the very beginning of the year, that car, something happens, and that car's doesn't show up anymore. It's not used. It seems to disappear. And then that red Tesla, which we didn't know until the search warrant was served, that there's a red Tesla in the garage, which I can tell you was at least on February 1st.
Yeah. Let me just narrow down here. Do you have the precise date of when that car?
That is wild. He's saying it hadn't been moved since July. That's what I don't understand. The car was really close to where he lived, and that was never reported as stolen. That is sus. I agree, Tia. And Tesla can be tracked down, shut down, and reported stolen, so cannot be driven by someone other than the owner. Yeah, I feel like they're keeping information from about the Tesla close to the chest. Is that what the saying is? Like close to the chest? Was a body in a container? Yes, it was. I feel like the body had been frozen before it was put in that car. I feel like it had been moved around, maybe prior to the Tesla, but I feel like that body had been moved around. I don't know why. I just get that feeling. Obviously she was unalived somewhere else and then put into the container, but I feel like prior to the container being in the front of the Tesla, I feel like she had been moved around quite a bit. I don't know why I get that feeling. An innocent person doesn't put all their properties in their mama's name. Yeah, he's doing that for civil reasons. He doesn't want to get sued and lose everything, right? I think that was in one of the Reddit posts we're going to cover. A transferred Kia the car at the later date. The neighbor said all the same signs. Steve is full of it. Really?
The one with the Tesla, with Celeste body inside, when it was left there. Do you know the specific date of when it was left in Hollywood Hills?
I believe so. I believe it. July, late July, very late July.
So one thing that we've heard, and this is something we've talked about, is the LAPD has seized footage from the rental property, multiple security cameras around the property.
But she wasn't unalived then, because she had been seen, right? So the Tesla was abandoned, according to him. But Celeste was still alive, right? Because I think she was seen sometime in August at his concerts. I have gone through the timeline, but I can't remember. Interesting.
There are even reports of a smashed Ring camera on the ground. And according to TMZ, police seized all the footage from multiple security cameras at the house last month when they executed the search warrant. TMZ described that footage as a, quote, potential gold mine for investigators. And the question becomes, did you see anyone coming into or leaving that property after the Tesla was there? So after the Tesla with Celeste body inside is there, can you tell us you saw people coming in and out of that property before before the search warrant?
No, not from the time that the Tesla was left. So from the time the Tesla was left there, he literally immediately started the tour. There was a tour bus that was leased, and I'll tell you that Tesla was moved and literally a bus departed for tour.
Okay.
Okay, so he's basically saying, without saying, that, I'm sorry, but that makes it sound like it was totally David. Like David moved the car and then he went on tour. He said it was moved literally right within the same time frames. They said it looked like someone like her at the concert, but that wasn't her. Tomato. I mean, I think it was her. You guys, she's all over his stuff, like live streaming and stuff. She was living with him when she would run away there. I feel like, Also note Steven says, I believe over the whole interview, he isn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not like super familiar with this guy, but I know he was clearly retained as a
Talked about things that might have been taken from the house, things that you handed over to LAPD. Is there anything you can share with us about what that information may be?
One thing that you just brought up, and I guess which TMZ reported on, the security system. The house has got a very sophisticated security system, not just with cameras, but with sensors and all types of things. It all records to a DVR. And for privacy reasons, the owner, when he leased the house, said, this is the system that's in the house and you can use whatever functions you want on it. That's not something that then the owner could access. So we don't know if the cameras were enabled or not enabled, but if they were, it wouldn't just be cameras. It would be, we'd know anytime anybody came and went from the house, anytime anybody opened a window, everything, if they kept it like it was. But we don't know. LAPD came in and took that whole DVR. They took the entire system, which you would expect. And I've talked to the security company that installed the system, and they've told me, how it was set up. We think it was probably running because there's limited alerts that the security guy can see, which is stuff like if there's a major failure. And there was a low power failure warning that triggered right when they were executing the search warrant. And I think that's when they unplugged the system. So there's reason to believe that the system was running. Whether the cameras were covered or not, I don't know. I can tell you that some of the smoke sensors in the house were covered, and that's probably because maybe they were, I don't know what they were doing in the house. So the cameras might have been covered as well.
During the course of your investigation so far.
So basically what he's saying is that there was cameras and the LAPD has all the information that he's looking for about whether they were running that night or whatever time frames or not, because if they weren't, then that means someone did something. But if they were running, which he's saying he thinks they were, then LAPD should have that information. Oh, thank you, Patty. I know.
Have you
Thank
learned more
you.
information about Celeste and David, perhaps their connection, anything we should be thinking about that hasn't been publicly reported? Is your investigation also into them as well?
Sure. Yeah. And one of the reasons that we kind of come public with what I'm doing is because I have a little bit different method of working than a lot of private investigators and then what people think is the proper way of doing it. I believe in this digital age, and when, especially the younger generation, when they're on places like Discord and you don't even know their real identities, I put myself out there and those people do come to me, and a tremendous amount of people have come to me, and I've learned a lot. Now, listen, a lot of it's circumstantial, right? But there are people that are directly in his orbit, and there are people that have photos and videos, and we've gotten a lot of photos and videos from inside the home itself. So we can put people at certain dates and times at the house, and there's a lot of them. It's in the thousands.
Do you know if Celeste was ever at that property?
So, what we recovered.
Thousands, he said. People in and out. So then could it have been David is being framed by someone that was involved with Celeste? Also, I'm shook. But LAPD is, FBI and Steve are on the case. I have hope. Yeah, no, but LAPD needs to speak up.
We don't have any of her at that property. We have pictures of her and that were taken by David, we assume, because it's not on a camera phone, but these photos are on a regular camera at different locations. And it really makes me think that it's likely she had another place she was staying. I can tell you that there was a lot of time spent towards downtown LA. And I'll say the last photo that we have of Celeste is January 2nd, 2025.
Okay.
Wait, what does he mean by that? The last photo, January 2nd, 2025. But she had been seen alive after that. Allegedly. At the concerts and stuff, right? Wait, so that's crazy. This is crazy. Sorry, I'm thinking as I'm like processing what he just said. Yeah, in and out. I don't believe David is being framed, but maybe others were involved. Wait, he's saying that he thinks she wasn't staying there while she was running away. So then therefore that means other people are involved. Therefore, could that be why this is taking so long and why LAPD doesn't want to say anything? Because they are investigating and maybe there is more than one people involved. Peoples. I wonder if he really cared for her. No, Alicia, no, I don't think so. I think people can be predators. And I think that Celeste was vulnerable because she was a runaway and she was struggling and she was a kid. And that's really sad. Yeah, I don't know. Have you guys run away? Like I try to put myself in that position. As much as I was a rebel, I was more so not like I'm running away. I was more so like I'm just gonna be like a rebel, like stay out, not come home, get drunk, smoke weed, like go out, like back in the day, right? I wasn't really running away. I didn't have a bad home life. Was there trauma? Yes, but I feel like it's different for everyone, right? And so I always keep thinking like, what would make her want to run away so much? Was it actually David, or was it really that home life? And was that why David was able to get such access of her? Because she lacked the love and the care she would have got from a good home life. And he was just a predator. Or was this actually love? How could you love a child? And does a child even know what love is? No. So I don't know. It's very complicated, this case.
Now that's significant because we were wondering when, she was last seen alive, there was that surveillance footage of her seemingly running away from her neighborhood.
And that was September of 24, I believe. So
yeah.
We didn't have anything. We were like, where was this girl in 2025? But we do have a photo of her on July 2nd, early in the morning, July 2nd, 2025.
Has anyone, and just to be clear, you don't know more information about when she died, right?
No,
Okay.
I don't have any information of how she died or when exactly she died. Listen, investigations are always moving, and right now I tend to believe it happened a while ago, a long time ago. And I think January, February, things changed. I mean, you can see it in the photos and everything. And I also think when I first started looking at this case, I'm very much a Occam's razor type of person where I think things are a lot easier than people try to make them sometimes, especially online, into these big things. And I thought this was going to be a tragic overdose, which it very well still could be. And they made a bad decision because they didn't want to expose a potential relationship and put her in this Tesla. And then maybe he thought he could get somebody to get rid of that car. And they were just like, no, I'm not doing it, and just got left there. But I will say this: there's some things that, and I'm talking physical.
Interesting play-by-play he just gave there. Is that what they're thinking, that it was an OD, and that's exactly what's happening? Is he talking without talking, Steve Fisher? I would stay gone for 3 days. Oh, okay. With friends and okay. See what I mean? Same problem. He thinks she was there. All Steve is going to do is wait until the end of trial. That's evidence I'm talking about. 1,000 friends. I know. Because he was, an artist. I think people were coming in and out of his house. You don't dismember a body over an OD. I know. That's the whole thing of it all too, is like, that's where I was going to say next is like, but wait, an OD doesn't like, we've talked about dismembering, especially with the Taylor Schabusiness case. Like, it's a very personal and brutal and gory and bloody crime. And so I feel like if she OD'd, why would they dismember her? Why wouldn't they just tell the truth? Like, yeah, everybody was effed up at a party. And like, okay, what if David does, how many years will he do in jail for being a graper? For dating a minor? Like, what is that now? And he's famous. So it's like, he probably would get like house arrest or some shit. You know what I mean? So like, I think like, why would they have chosen to dismember someone and schmurder someone? I don't know. Like, why dismember if it was just an OD? And I really hope this case doesn't go like unsolved or whatever.
That was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind.
Has anyone from David's team, management, legal, anybody reached out to you or your client?
I know that my client's been in touch with his manager, but only for the purpose of the lease, because they did ask to terminate the lease. And I believe the other manager that technically was the owner of the red Tesla, I think was in touch with him because they needed access to the house to get that vehicle and stuff out. Because that's another thing that they could be key in this, is that there's only one key to that house, and who had that and who had access to it and who was in it. Because we also have evidence that while David was on tour at the time between the Tesla being found and the search warrant being served, David was on tour, but somebody was in that house. And there was actually a report made, not with police, but that homeowner association has a robust private security company, and we've gotten videos from them and reports. And so who had that key is probably the same person that, had access to the Tesla.
Do you know who that person?
Who had that key? Whoa, this is crazy. So was it David or was it not? I kind of like Jesse Weber. Don't come for me. This is an awful case. I'm still learning as we go. It should be, then everyone would be charged with manslaughter for distributing rugs. 1,000 people? Like, would they even know who was there? If they were, I feel like they had Diddy parties going on there. Not exactly Diddy parties. And I don't mean like schmexual stuff going on, but in the sense of like partying. Like, I feel like they could have had fat parties there. That's what I mean. with rugs and stuff.
Is, and do you believe that is the person that moved the Tesla?
So I believe, I definitely know who moved that Tesla on that late July before they went on tour. I can't say who the person, and I don't mean I can't say for, I mean, but I don't know who exactly was in that house, because it's just a report, but there's video, but you can't make a person out. But somebody was in the house, and being that there's only one key, it's like, okay, who had access at that time? So is it the same person that moved the Tesla?
And remember, the neighbors said there was always a lot of noise, a lot of parties, a lot of people over there. Oh, sorry, I meant to hit play.
Tesla was another last part of the plan about to go in motion as far as getting rid of her body. I don't know.
Now, we heard this week from LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman, and he actually addressed this case directly when a TMZ reporter caught up with him outside the DA's office. And regarding the status of the case, he said, quote, "It is currently under investigation. We don't discuss suspects or the points in a continuing investigation. When and if that case is presented to the DA's office and we make a decision on it, I'll make sure you're one of the first to know. A case has not been presented to our office for filing consideration." And just to underline that, a spokesperson for the DA's office confirmed to Complex that, yeah, no case has been presented for filing consideration. The LAPD also told the outlet that the county medical examiner still hasn't determined a cause or manner of death, saying, quote, "It remains unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body." Now, Steve, you just told us a lot of information here. Are you surprised that we don't have a confirmed suspect from law enforcement or a person of interest or even an arrest at this point? Or can you say, from what you're seeing, that makes sense, but Jesse, maybe be on the lookout for something soon?
Yeah, I would say, Jesse, that makes sense, but maybe be on the lookout for something soon. Yeah, I've seen this in a lot of cases. It tells me, listen, I don't have any inside information on this. I'm just saying, from my opinion, that this means that during the examination, the autopsy examination, there was nothing very obvious, such as a crushed skull, bullet holes, anything like that. So they're waiting on toxicology to come back to make that final determination. Now, is the medical examiner in contact with the detectives in between this time? Are they? Absolutely. Do they have a preliminary determination? I'm sure they do. I think the DA's office is working side by side with the detectives and telling them, this is what we need for these charges. This is what we would need for these charges. Can you get it or not get it? Listen, a crime 100% happened here. At minimum, it's the concealment of a body, right? So we know somebody did that. Hopefully it's not, a mutilation. Hopefully those initial reports were wrong about her being dismembered. But one thing I have to say, even though I talked about how we found some things that could have meant they had a really twisted plan in place to get rid of her, it never went in motion. So you can't charge somebody for a crime that they may have thought about doing. So, we may never know more about that.
So, Steve, before I let you go,
what?
Do you have any indication about where David is right now?
I don't. I have no idea. And it's kind of bizarre because his group has stayed so silent. What's left of his group, I guess. And I'm not even sure the conversations that the owner did have with his management in breaking that lease. I'm not even 100% sure his management knows at this time where he's at. I think his attorney might be the only one, and his parents.
Steve Fisher, really appreciate you taking the time.
Wow. So Steve Fisher doesn't know where he is. It sounds like he's already tried looking for David. And David is staying really quiet, and she was so little. Yeah, that's crazy. My kids are the only ones who have a key. Even if she was unalived somewhere else, why put her in the trunk? They were going to connect the dots to David and searched all of his stuff. They will blame whoever concealed the body, says First Liberties. This is a rule called consciousness of guilt. It means you're taking actions to conceal a crime because you know you broke the law. If a minor has a weapon, I would assume you would claim self-defense. Let's go through this website that I want to share with you guys. Sorry, StreamYard's acting up and it's not exactly how I want it to look. Okay, so this website has like everything, all the updates. So the last time I looked on here, David broke the lease. That was September 27th, 2025. They did mention that right now in the live as well. So we're kind of just going to hit like the main points. She was 120 pounds alive and 71 in the afterlife because of the decomp. That's right. This topic society. Sorry if I said that wrong. You're right. So I'm assuming they're having a hard time with the toxicology because she was so badly decomposed. That makes the claim useless when you add the fact that the body was concealed. And maybe they don't know if it was dismembered. Again, they could have made an error because of how badly it was decomposed. Okay, so September 28th, tampering with potential evidence. A Redditor discovered a Tesla hidden in the gutter. Okay, we heard about that. The key. David's abandoned Tesla was ticketed. Okay, we heard that. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. Asset transferred. This is, okay, the most recent. The David transfers Texas home from to mother's name. And then let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see a little better. There we go. Okay. Yeah, she looks so young there. He's wearing her bracelets there, or they had the same bracelets. This is what the picture on the left is. David at a spot in Lake Elsinore. We have covered this before. Photo captures musician David at a spot in Lake Elsinore, California, a mere 0.3 miles from the family home of Celeste. And these are pictures. This one over here. New photo of David. Okay, he's coming. This is a Tesla too. Wild. And then over here is like the map, him paying people money. People are saying that he's paying people money off for Celeste, allegedly. I don't know if that's true. Same parking lines, including blue handicap spot. David's mom, first public sighting. Yep, she was buying a pew pew. We covered that in the last live. She was buying a firearm. She probably fears for her safety because this case is so high profile. We know Celeste loved Hello Kitty, and guess who else uses Hello Kitty as a profile pic? Yep, David. So this was Celeste, one of her pages, I think Hello Kitty Life Girl. And then this picture is of David and a girl with a ring. This is what I thought was interesting. Had you guys seen this picture? I had not seen this. Yes, I have J-Lo. I love your name too. I'm still Jenny from the block. The look on her face looks like she could be in trouble. So that's a ring right here. And someone said this is Celeste. And it says it's the same person, Hello Kitty Life Girl. And then here's the page. Yeah, what do we think about that? That's very interesting. I had not seen the ring pic. Had you guys seen the ring pic? Who's that wearing a ring? They walked that story back. People took not in contact, dismember it, and that's not what they said. Only media said that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and then this is his page. Look, he has a Hello Kitty pic too. David, 2 million. Hello Kitty right here. This website's like been doing some digging. And then this is the house. I think we've seen this on the interview with one of them with Steve Fisher. I think he took these, if I'm correct. Oh, look, there's the camera. So there definitely was camera. Hello Kitty Life Girl. I love Hello Kitty. I know, me too. I do. I love Hello Kitty too. I grew up with like the Sanrio stuff. Here's David and a piano. This is the house worth $20,000 a month. Nice ass house, if you tell me. Look at this view. The view. The view. From David's house. And then tattoo. Yes, we know they had the matching tattoo. So here is, I can't really see. Oh yeah, it does kind of say that's supposed to be Celeste. And then here is David's tattoo. Looks a little, yeah. Was this guy obsessed? We know he had been singing about her. David is waving goodbye to his Tesla at some point out of the motel with an eerie song playing in the background. Too bad I can't hear the song. I've never seen this video. Oh. That's a really weird video. I was going to say, oh, that's David. Oh. He's flipping us off. Dude, I had never not watched this. This is why I wanted to watch this with you guys. Why can't I hear anything? Who was that? Oh, this is the video where he puts he has a music video where they put the body in the trunk, which is really weird if you think about like how that happened. Images related to the Tesla. That was a creepy video. Did you guys get creep vibes? All right. How do you tattoo a child? Because you have money. That's how. There's a Tesla. There was damage. Why is there tape on the Tesla? Who put tape right there? Do you guys see that? That's tape. That's weird. These are the documents that Steve Fisher originally got regarding the vehicle and how it had been ticketed. Here's the vehicle being moved, towed. I don't know what that's a map to. Probably the house. Alleged pics and videos of the two together. Ew, what a creep. If that was a Celeste. She's in a lot of pics. Okay. Then there's this one, Celeste and David. That's definitely Celeste there. Interesting. These pictures are wild. We did watch this clip where she said he's a creeper. Alleged photo of David wearing a similar wig to the one Celeste Rivas wore. So that's the one Celeste was wearing. She looks really young. And then he's wearing it. What the hell? Is that the same wig? Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can. He was harboring a runaway at the very least. I agree. I didn't know you guys. Yeah, I don't get the hype either. I don't like Teslas. It's a patch. The car's trying. Oh, that's funny. Henna tattoos are not illegal in Cali. No, they're not. They're everywhere. Because you're rich. Yeah. Pause. Is that way? Okay, let's see. This was at the vigil. Justice for Celeste Rivas. Okay. Let's move on to the Reddit that I want to show you guys. Actually, let's watch. So we just watched Steve Fisher. That was on one interview, but actually I'm going to share with you guys another one that he did. And this one's just a few minutes because it's different. This one was on News Nation. Okay, let me play this real quick. Okay.
Piece of evidence that the PI unearthed. That investigator's name is Steve Fisher, and he joins me now live. Steve, welcome back to the program. How certain are you that this video of the car driving away from David's mansion is the last time it drove and ended up at the spot where it was abandoned, likely with that body inside?
I'm certain. Listen, I can't say 100% because there's not a camera trained on that Tesla once it's parked. Continuously that I've seen. I mean, there likely is a camera, but I've seen the car driven to that spot, and with the dates, with the date that it was, they left town right after that. I'm certain that is the last time the car was driven. It was put there with her, in the front trunk.
And there's one weird detail about what you could, well, there's a lot of weird details, and I'm going to get to what you saw through the driver's side window in a second, but there was an air freshener that was found in the car at this point that we see on our screen, where it was abandoned. Was that air freshener also hanging from the rear view mirror when it drove off from David's house?
It wasn't, but his window was half to 3/4 of the way down, which is odd because it was a very short drive. And also at that on that day, this is the very end of July 29th, it was like 78 degrees at that time in the morning, or 77 degrees, and if it was on the street where the house is, so it's shaded by the house. So if you're going, I don't know why the window would be rolled down unless there's something offensive there. And then all of a sudden, one of the first things I picked up on when the news first broke about the her being found in there, where they were towing the car away from the impound lot to LAPD, was why on a $104,000 car is there a Christmas tree air freshener hanging from the from the mirror? It seemed kind of odd to me, but I guess maybe they thought that would help mask it for when they had to move the car again.
If there was that smell at that time, because again, we have no idea when Celeste started decomposing in that trunk. We don't know if she'd been decomposing in the trunk for a long time before it ended up being, the car ended up being abandoned. But talk to me about the date of this video, July 29th, and talk to me about what you saw. What did you see in terms of the identity of the person driving through that open window?
So it's very clearly that Tesla, one, because the Tesla has that tape on the rear spoiler for whatever reason. I don't know why it's there. And also, it was just like it is in that picture. It was that dirty, except you could tell that they had run the windshield wiper like once to clear the dirt away so they could see. And it comes very close to the camera, although there is some motion blur, but you can see the person and you can see what they're wearing, something pretty distinctive. And there's photos that I have from 12 hours earlier, a person at the house wearing the same thing.
And I know that the viewers right now are screaming at the TV set saying, Ashley, ask them who it was.
I mean, I honestly wish I could tell you. I don't want to, I don't want to interfere with LAPD on that. And I think that's coming because we know a crime was committed 100%. Somebody concealed her body, and hey, maybe the reason I don't want to say the person's name is because maybe this person was just someone that was asked to move the car, and didn't know. I find that very hard to believe, and I doubt that's the case. But just in case, I'd rather LAPD make that announcement.
Well, and it's important for us to tell viewers as well that you turned all this material over to them. You're the one who found it. You're the one who took it to them. You're the one who said, and I connected it to the photos from just 12 hours earlier, and here's the clothing. It looks like this could be an ID. July 29th, important because that was the last day that David was in Los Angeles, right? But before he went off on his tour. So he was there in Los Angeles on that day that drive happened.
Yeah, I've seen on one of his public social medias, he had put a video out where it was the first day on their new tour bus because they were going to San Francisco, I believe, for the first night of the concert series, and they did a video from inside the tour bus. So I believe hours after that car was moved, they actually got on the tour bus and headed to San Fran.
He said literally hours after. So, David.
Let me ask you this, and I only have a couple seconds left, but you found some other suspicious things. The landlord, as you know...
Basically, what I'm getting from is that it wasn't David. That's why they haven't arrested him. So someone else did it. Maybe they were asked to move the car. Exactly, Ree's Crow's Grave World. That's what I feel like they're trying to say. He admits he's the one that found information that he admits the police would likely already have. Good thing he's not a suspect. Him or someone in his group knows something. Absolutely. Definitely. 100%.
We obviously know now, allowed you into the house, and you saw some things in there that were very uncomfortable and very suspicious. I know you can't say certain things, but what can you tell us about what you saw inside the house?
Well, and this is the landlord found it also, but there were some things in there that were hard to think about because these would be items that would be used if you wanted to get rid of a body, and there's really no other purpose for them at a house like this or anything. And they're expensive items, and so they weren't jokes, but they weren't used. I'll tell you that they were still in the box. So I don't know how much we'll find out about that in the future because you can't charge somebody for thinking about doing something. But I think they had a plan.
But it's important to know, because the first thing I said when I learned of that was that, well, that can't be possible because the LAPD raided the place and took everything. But you know for a fact that they photographed those things, and they're huge and heavy and expensive, and so they have ample information and photographic evidence of those things.
They said that we inquired about this, and they said that they photographed it. I don't know why they didn't take it. There's 2 items. I don't know why they didn't take them, but they said they photographed them.
Steve Fisher, I got to cut it there, but I got to have you back.
Wow. They have no proof of unaliving, no proof of intercourse after 18, no proof of anything at this point. That's why nobody's arrested. So who put her in the trunk and concealed her then? Someone in the circle needs to come forward with information. I agree. Let's go through this Reddit that I like to go through. Let me make myself this way. He's good thing he's not a suspect. Yeah. Okay, so this I just like to kind of go through because they have some good information as well, and conversation starters. Someone says, I am of the belief that Celeste had been dead for weeks in the trunk, especially because her remains were severely decomposed. The residents of the neighborhood reported seeing the vehicle abandoned for weeks, but what I can't understand is how there has not been any reports of smell in the neighborhood, or even when the car is being physically towed. That's what I said earlier. Why this is taking so long? So in all trials, civil and criminal, there's something called the federal rules of evidence that determines what is allowed to be admitted as evidence in the trial. This is to ensure that nobody gets railroaded. Hearsay. A lot of things are hearsay. A lot of things are online. A lot of things are old too. As reported, David has retained attorney Blair Burke to represent him. She's a prominent Hollywood defense attorney for taking on high-profile cases. especially men accused of misconduct ranging from sexual assault to DV. Burke's list of clients has included Harvey Weinstein, Ed Westwick, Johnny Depp, Marilyn Manson, Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Armie Hammer. High-profile attorney, she's called, quote unquote, the Hollywood fixer. Huh. We saw the video of the friend. We did see, I don't think I had covered the house swatting, but we know his parents' house got swatted. And that is wild in itself. Footage shows cops walking up to David's Hempstead home with guns drawn on September 18th. So, you know what? The swatting situation makes me feel like then it wasn't David. I feel like it wasn't David. If someone swatted him, that means someone has something out for him. And they literally did that at his parents' house. So it could be someone involved with David. So maybe it wasn't David who did this to Celeste. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I hope that makes sense. Like how I'm connecting. Why would David have his own home swatted? It could have just been like an evil person online too. Those very much exist, actually. Hey, Capo. I'm driving and listening. Drive safe. Drive safe. We don't know who put her in the trunk, and neither does Steve. That's true. He moved his properties because the lawyer's going to take it all. No, because he's going to be sued. It makes me feel like the lawyer told him to move all his things in properties, etc., because maybe there's going to be no criminal charges, and so there's going to be civil charges for dating a minor, etc., from the family. Maybe not. That's just my opinion. What does a rule out is a car smell before driving it so that is not ruled out? What I was saying with that is like, how did they not smell it? Like, how did the person who towed the car not smell a dead human being prior to getting to the tow yard? I wanted to play the body cam footage of the house swatting call. Oh. Can you guys see that? Oh, maybe let me, oh, it's because it's a different screen. Okay. Let me share my different screen so I can, this is the TMZ website. Dude, StreamYard got me effed up. I'm really getting annoyed with StreamYard. Okay. Hey, Evie, the neighbor said there was a smell. And the officer ticketing the car didn't smell anything or what? Okay, let me make this big. Pause. That's what she said. Okay, here we go. Not me being inappropriate. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Okay, that's enough of me. You had enough of me?
I'll go out wide and keep you covered. You want to tap the door? Just wait for me, because I'm going to keep you covered. Go ahead. I got you covered. Come right here. There's too many windows. Here, knock on the door.
Yo, look at them firearms just ready to go.
We got a phone call from here saying that somebody was dead. What? Is there somebody else that lives on this property that has your address? What's your address? That's it. That's it. That's what actually we got. We got an address. There was a gunshot and a woman screamed. What? I'm serious. That's why we came up here like this, because and then they talked to the caller. Whoever they were talking to said that there's a person dead. No sir. No sir. Knock on the door. We need to talk to him. We ain't got time for this.
Ma'am, we got to figure out what's going on so we can leave, okay?
Very advised. We made contact. They said nothing happened here. She shut the door. Now she's calling 911.
Yes, sir. We haven't received a call.
I believe she's going to be in the process.
Go ahead, give him a call if you want to verify it. Okay.
All right, she's calling you now. There's more that went on.
Can you repeat, sir? Broken traffic.
Huh? That's not normal activity. If you were at the wrong address, they'd be concerned about somebody else. Like really? Like, you know what I mean?
I'm not surprised that the parents shut the door. They're black. Not that that has like, not that I'm being mean, but they probably assume like, okay, we're being swatted. Why is all the police here? We're gonna be shot. Like, it's not just about racism, but it's about just the fear of like, wait, why do they have their guns drawn? That's swatting is really dangerous.
Maybe they be trying to help.
Tinder 42, sir.
Sorry to bother you, but somebody called and said there was something. There was a person that where they called on themselves.
I'm Mexican, so if someone pulls up to my house with guns, we're gonna have a problem. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, not sorry.
You know what I mean? It was like, hey, there's somebody dead.
Someone's dead.
That's why we gotta take caution, you know what I mean? Wasn't trying to scare y'all, just.
And if it was
This
a
house
prank,
is
we
way
would-
off the roadway. We
So you just opened the gate and came in?
Yes, ma'am. I'll put it back. I have a gate just like it.
I think it's hard to get my country.
Yeah, when it's something like this, when they say somebody's dead, their life matters more than, you know what I mean?
I hear.
I didn't damage your gate. I just opened it. Oh, it ain't on their phone.
And this is not a Texas.
Yeah, that's an out-of-state number.
Someone's messing with us.
Ah.
Someone's
But
messing with us.
whoever, it would pinged here though, because wherever they call from, it pings and sends it to dispatch.
So it has to ping from that address. So somebody was on their property while they made that call, or someone did some techy thing to fake that address. Swatting is dangerous for both officers and homeowners. Yes, but it has led to a lot of situations too in the past. They didn't even have to answer that door. There's nothing, that's true. They didn't have to. They don't have to talk to them.
What the what?
So like whenever you call 911,
here?
wherever you are, it sends like a ping
It's ping
to
from
that's how they know the address.
And this address came up to this number?
Yes, ma'am, that's where he was. County to engine 42.
So is there somebody on my property?
It could be. We'll check the property for you.
That's scary.
So we'll ride around.
This
If
is
you
not
give me a
on my-
layout, how's the property? Like, does it go further? Like,
No, it doesn't go any further back. It's right here and then it goes
On the
right.
fence, there was a gate here and the fence around. It's a private fence.
Well, him
So someone had to be in the near vicinity for it to ping from their location.
and I will ride around and check, and then we'll leave. You know?
Yeah, okay. So that was a false alarm. You see, I don't like this kind of thing. So if I really do have an emergency, then
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry.
Well, if you do have an emergency, you know we're going to be here.
Okay.
We're going to get here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mhm.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. Police are allowed to lie for purposes of an investigation. The cop may be lying. They gave 911 the address. In that case, they would have broken down the door. Either way, when a police pull up like that with guns, it's concerning. And I think for anyone, it doesn't have to be a race or anything. So that's not what I meant by it earlier. I'm just saying, like, Melly, have they rolled out her ex-boyfriend? No. I don't think they've ruled anyone out. No one is a suspect and no one is ruled out. It's like the Sebastian Rogers case where they're like, we don't know what we don't know. Remember that? No, nobody, I don't think anybody's been ruled out. What is swatting? So swatting is, let's look it up. I can give you my definition, but I like to give the legal definition. So no one comes for me because, people have been coming. The action or practice of making a prank call to emergency services and attempt to bring about the dispatch of a large number of police officers. So basically you're reporting that there's a crime happening on a property and police pull up with guns. That's why I said the comment, with guns ablazing, ready to take someone out because they think it's a dangerous person. Usually, not usually, but a lot of the time it leads to firearms being shot when they don't need to be and people being killed. It's just really dangerous, like Elijah said, for the officer and the people involved. There's a recording of the 911 call and the person reported to use it a voice changer. Yeah, I heard. I've had it happen. They meant to go house next door. They will come in regardless. David could have done the swatting to make it look like someone was causing havoc in his life, making it more believable that someone would set him up. I like that comment because that's very true. Yeah. I guess it goes both ways. That's really crazy. Okay, let's go back to this. This person says, I don't really mean to sound like a pessimist, but I don't think Celeste will get justice. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist because I'm not, but how corrupt the LAPD and the music industry is. I would not be surprised if David Burke doesn't get any charges or time whatsoever. If David to partake in her death, the public will never know either way, no matter what happened. I think the other Celeste was introduced by his label as a PR to cover up for the actual Celeste. A PR relationship so that they could say, no, this is the wrong Celeste. Mine is an underage.
Research on this, and I just do this with like any other case. This one I found something that I haven't seen anybody talk about and I wanted to share. So at first I went on her mom's Facebook and I was like scrolling and literally did not see anything about the situation at all. So from what we've gathered, she went missing the first time, she was brought back home, and then she went missing again and never came back. So I scrolled down and I found one post regarding this entire situation, and this is from last year, like when she first went missing the first time. And it really bothered me because I was like, what? The mom put out a Facebook post for the first time that she went missing and then said that she came home or whatever. Second time, nothing was ever posted. She wasn't even reported missing, I don't think. And basically was just gone untalked about. So I scrolled down to the post that she put out when she first went missing. It's this post right here. Now, if you go in the comments, like I translated all the comments and everything, there is this comment. It says, because you don't pay attention to the messages you get. I clicked on it and it is in Spanish, but I just used ChatGPT to like translate it because I didn't want to type everything into Google. Now, these are the texts translated. It says, good evening, Mrs. Mercedes. Let me tell you, a few hours ago at some airport, a plane arrived from another airport with a group of young people. The young girls are being brought from human trafficking. Within the group is a young woman named Celeste Rivas. She says she's your daughter. That is what that text translates to. This comment was posted a year ago. I know that there's so many people speculating that her...
Interesting. The neighbor interaction, I think, is important. I want to watch that actually again. Does anyone know when David moved to LA? There's a lot of little details that I'm ignorant about. Therefore, I keep trying to fill the holes. When you play games like Fortnite, are you playing with a worldwide community or people near you? Wouldn't have Celeste and David officially met in person once he was in California, regardless of being in contact with each throughout the Fortnite network? If this is the case, when did he officially moved to LA? The ex, I don't think she was looking for a serious relationship, and more so for someone to love her because she didn't have that at home. Allegedly, this is a post from the ex. A whole clip explaining why he didn't park in the garage. His garage was an arcade.
I'm Nancy Grace.
Nancy Grace has talked about this. People saying there was videos of Celeste looking disoriented. So on this video, okay, it says, my prayers with you, my God, I send you strong. A hug from the distance. I don't know if that was Celeste or not. OD situation.
Anakin speaks Spanish,
Oh, wait.
and you talked to her.
Yeah.
What we reported was the last time the family saw her was March of
No.
March of
April.
2024.
So I never got a specific month from her. All I know is that she said that she hadn't seen her for a couple of years until news of her death.
A couple of
Well, it
years.
certainly wasn't a couple of years because she was there in April.
If she was right
early
next, the mother had to her house.
If it was September, it was less than a year.
Well, certainly at that point it's less than a year.
About a year. Yeah.
What's really striking about this incident, though, is it is exactly 1 year before the body was discovered in
Spanish. Anakin.
That's wild. There's Celeste. That is so sad. I know we're all getting information that she was missing from the missing poster, but could that have just been old? Like she ran away missing for a while, then came home and nobody took the posters down. When people talk about Celeste's home life, it is not taking the blame off David. It shows that he was a predator that singled out a child vulnerable in the situation. That's kind of what I said earlier. This is so common for child groomers to seek out kids with these types of issues at home because it makes them easier to manipulate. Bro is a textbook pred. Her home life would give important context, though. I would like to clarify we don't have a lot of confirmed information about her home life. Oh, look at that. Wow.
Oh, thank you. Oh, do Duolingo. Spanish is so beautiful. I like this language.
Yahoo 7 call on Discord. I guess that David was in that call. The amount that of people that still defend David is astounding. When was the Summer Uptown video recorded? Oh, because David's in it? Huh. I didn't know that. Oh, this is good. Does anyone know what video he removed from his channel? I did mention this in a previous live where there was a video that was removed, but I was thinking, I can't see. One of them was removed. I think it was just like record label stuff. Like maybe they didn't want it playing with the case going on or something. We did see the picture of the ring. Here it is again. When they were out at dinner. I can't really see that. That's too blurry. Finally put together a timeline with his TikTok activity.
It's either you, it's either me, or nobody else in this world. Bitch, I love you to death. Never bring. There goes my bed. There goes.
We've went through this timeline before in the previous. She was not 10, not 11. She was 10, not 11, not 12, not 13. She was 10 years old when they met. That's disgusting. We were talking about a minor who was found dead in his car. Doesn't matter if her parents couldn't control her or even if they allowed it. None of that changes the fact that he was a predator obsessed with a child. What if Celeste picked him up as her ex in the Tesla, hung out? He was jealous and killed her, put her in the trunk, and dropped off the Tesla where the singer lives. I said that earlier too. I said it could totally be someone else. David should be charged for abusing a minor first. Somebody said, my very straightforward theory guess is that she died on January 2025. Remember Steve Fisher said that? Steve Fisher was like, the last known picture was of her in January. Could she have been dead for that long? Elijah says, I refuse to write David with the 4. I want to talk about that. If you guys are into spirituality stuff, numerology, that stands for something more. I'm not going to get into it here, but I looked into that with the whole 4 thing. And anyways, not to go off on a tangent, but could she have been dead since January 2025? No, right? Or yeah? Cops called to Celeste home 11 times in 3 years. Let's read that. I need to see what they're going to say. I hadn't really read a lot of that about the calls. Okay, maybe that website is like not working. Oh, there we go. Oh. Okay, yeah. You know what? I'm not going to get into that website. It's like freezing StreamYard for me. Oh, no, I'm tiny. Let me pull it up on a different one. Dude, don't even get me started on StreamYard. Okay, it says deputies called to Celeste Rivas' home 11 times in a year with 3 visits in a single day. Deputies were called to her home in the space of 1 year, and on one occasion, they visited the property 3 times in a single day. Why the need? She's screaming for her life in the background. Why the need for the police to be there so much? The teenage, it says her body was found. Okay. These emerged from her running away from home. Yeah. Let me pull up. Then he said July 2nd. Exactly. Okay, let's pull up the website again, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't want to miss any current updates. Why put an intact body in the plastic bag? If the person had no intentions of ever using that car again, then there would be no need to put an intact body inside of a plastic bag. If the body was intact, then the only reason for the plastic bag would be to hide the contents in public. However, so far there's been nothing. Interesting. I see people all the time saying she was dismembered, but I don't see any confirmation. I thought LAPD said she was, but I was thinking maybe they were wrong with the decomposition. How is every single person keeping quiet? Does anybody know if the police have her phone? I have said that in another live too. Where is her phone? And her phone had I'm sure lots of evidence. She had to have been talking to, David and stuff. Oh, they're saying this is her. That is definitely her in this picture. And that's her at the concert, I guess. Celeste's body was wrapped in plastic and placed in the trunk of the Tesla. Someone was trying to hide the body. If the person responsible wanted her body discovered, there are better ways than wrapping the body in plastic and putting it in the trunk. Who's the voice at the end of the "If You Left Me First"? Most likely his ex-girlfriend. They were together for a good while in 2024. David is free now. Before David went on tour, Celeste's body was in Tesla, speculates the private investigator. We did just watch that. When was the last time Celeste was seen? It may have been on 9/8 on her neighbor's cam. Celeste may have been unalived 9 to 12 months ago. So then could she maybe have been unalived back in January if she was last seen in that neighbor altercation in September? What if January was the last time she was seen and alive? A body decomposed from January, that could be why they don't have any idea of how she died. I don't know though. I thought she was seen one time, like that picture at the concert backstage. Wasn't that in 2025? Why aren't her friends speaking out? I don't get it. Yeah, Nancy Grace has covered this as well. How and why does David still have 39 million monthly listeners? That's crazy. I believe this is Celeste's Instagram account created 2019. She would have been 9, and the username changed 6 times. Oh yeah, we saw that account earlier. Yeah, yay, woohoo. David has not been cleared. Oh, I want to watch this video.
To the location of where his car was towed. I'll point out some similarities and dunk some speculations that have been made that have been wrong. Everything I have provided on here is public information. First things first, I decided to quickly address the Reddit post of one user claiming to have found a Tesla key right outside David's place. Until there is official confirmation by police, take it as a grain of salt. But I still thought I should point out where it was just in case police do confirm it is connected. I'll attach the photos from the Reddit post. He claimed that he found it right in the gutter behind some leaves. He also posted an update writing that he contacted the police about the Tesla key. I added this part last minute just in case it turns out to be important later on. Now back to the 3D tour. Some have confused this image as where the car was found or an image of the car when Celeste was possibly in there. This is wrong. This is a 2024 Google Maps photo outside his residence, which may include a photo of his Tesla. We do not know, nor can confirm, that both are black Teslas. That's it. It does show this is a black Tesla that perfectly matches the outside of David's residence at the time. Same bushes, wall, green garages, etc. Now we will see how far of a drive walk the Tesla was found and towed. My opinion, which is not a fact, is this would not correlate with a stolen vehicle. But there is no confirmation that the vehicle was claimed as stolen by him. So it is a rumor as of now. The street the car was towed on was Bluebird Avenue. Based on the towing report, the car was found right outside around 1400 Bluebird Avenue, and lining up the towing image to the satellite photo of the street, this seems to match the location perfectly. Same road on report. Just further showing you, this seems to be the exact location of where the car was towed. Now I'm going to line up the cars found in front of the Tesla in the towing report to this. Google Maps satellite image from 2020. Even if it is the same cars in both photos, I think the most it proves is people mostly park in the same spots, and it's very irregular to have an unfamiliar car parked in the lane for long. Hence multiple reports by the neighbors. Disclaimer, I cannot confirm or deny these are the same cars. This is all speculation, nor if they are the same cars or not. It doesn't negate the fact that the Tesla was supposedly found where I have marked. I am purely showing the satellite image.
Interesting. I didn't speed it up, it was sped up. I originally believe Celeste passed away earlier this year, not in August. There's an interview with David where he stated quote unquote, but that girl isn't in my life anymore. Oh, so this is a post from the investigator. It says, I'm starting to believe that the information I received claiming a family member message with Celeste in July was incorrect. Whether that's accidental or intentional by the family member, I'm not sure. There's no trace of Celeste after early 2025 that I can find. The parties attended by family members were in 2024 during the missing but not really missing time. The Tesla's registration expired in January of 2025. It was ticketed twice in late February of 2025 in Hollywood, then not again until it was impounded. I can't find any trace of Celeste since very early 2025, although I fully admit that some sharp people on Reddit and YouTube are more dialed into the digital footprint. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if something may have happened to Celeste many months ago, early in the year. Being in a weather-sealed compartment that has very little oxygen and no insects greatly slows the biological decomp process, even in high temperatures. Could this have happened as far back as February or March? I think so, you guys. I really do. Why is there no so close to his home? Exactly, Amanda. Why is there no proof of, you know what I mean? If David didn't have any money, a high paid attorney and Interscope behind him, he would have been arrested already. Yeah, I know. She could have already been gone. Someone says stop blaming her family. What could he possibly be doing? This is a video of where she was seen. When was this video? I'm curious. 2024. Okay, so that was in 2024. We do know the altercation with the neighbors was in September of 2024. Oh, so sad. Look at this. Wow. Too sad. The guy's smarter than you guys think. Oh my God, someone said this earlier. Who was it? It's someone in the chat, I know. My theory, somebody on 𝐤𝐸𝐷 on Reddit said this guy's smarter than you think. I think that was him swatting his own house, trying to throw everyone off. So it looks like he's being targeted or framed. Of course, he unalived that poor girl Celeste because it was starting to come out and his career was taking off. Somebody said that earlier. Distance between David and Celeste, LA homes. I don't get it. 2 hours? I don't get it. Someone did the work for it on the maps, but I don't get if she was the one that was 2 hours away or 3 hours away. What were her parents doing? What were her parents doing during all of this? This is from my lawyers about how long it takes in a case. Yeah, see, David's going to have a multi-million civil lawsuit. That's why he transferred all his goods to his parents, which makes me think he's even more guilty. It's not new information that the family knew about Celeste. Celeste was David's muse. This is what's another post by Steve Fisher. Nobody gets arrested for offering condolences. Nobody gets arrested for saying someone deserved better than being stuffed in the trunk of a Tesla. Nobody gets arrested for declaring their innocence and saying the truth will come out. An innocent person doesn't burn their entire skyrocketing music career to the ground with zero chance of a comeback over something they didn't do because a lawyer told him to stay silent. I don't care how powerful your lawyers are or how many times they remind you to stay silent. Innocent people don't act like this. Do you agree with Steve Fisher or no? I have to sneeze. Is David being framed? Stop defending child predators. I agree. Private investigator knows who moves the car. Yeah, it might be coming out soon. David transfers Texas home to mother's name. Oh, this was Celeste TikTok. The 𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐬. Oh, at David. And then it has lips. Yeah. My theory has changed and I believe there's proof that Celeste was at least alive until December 5th. See? She could have been unalived in January. Someone says, I heard a lot of speculation about David doing something at the age of 11. He got kicked out of school. Selling rugs at high school. He was never enrolled in public high school. We might have to do some digging into David's past. This other user says, the more time goes on, I don't think David did it. David was the one that moved the car. Sounds like the person phoning in the bogus report. Oh yeah, this is the swatting call. Someone said, maybe I'll play that in a sec. Okay, here's a concert. A David concert? Why can't I hear any of the noise? Oh, that was the last time he performed, I guess. I don't know. He gives creep vibes. Not just because of the Celeste thing, but he gives creep vibes for sure. Let me make sure we didn't miss anything. Tesla Celeste Hernandez. So he was from because his plates were from Texas, it says right here. LAPD should have search warrants for both. I have to sneeze. For both homes he owns. Tesla Celeste Hernandez was found and had Texas plates. More places of the house. Oh, this was another one of her pages. Why was there so many allegedly Celeste Instagram pages? Interesting. No arrest due to manner of death not confirmed. Do people not understand that two things can be true at the same time? Yeah, I did say that.
Where are we at with this Celeste Rivas Hernandez investigation? A lot of people are interested in this.
It is currently under investigation.
You know, is David a suspect? Are there any suspects that you guys have on a list that you're keeping tight to vest? Is there?
So we don't discuss suspects or the points in a continuing investigation. When and if that case is presented to the DA's office and we make a decision on it, I'll make sure you're one of the first to know.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is a prosecutor in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. Oh, I didn't know that. Most of David's song, you'll see white roses. He has white roses for Celeste. Celeste featured on Real Crime.
By the time he was a staple of this music video, you kind of see him throughout the entire thing. He's holding the knife with the bloody thing. You got the girl who's basically like the ghost of the person that he killed. Was his first victim in the manga. And I put that all on screen, and me and Tommy had a great time just like chopping it up and getting to kind of merge creative ideas on the entire thing. And the Bloody Rose aesthetic was birthed in that music video as well, and kind of me representing my entire artistry through.
No. It's proven that David uses Celeste's voice in these songs. Wouldn't her family receive royalties if she is? Yeah, she should. Tell me Celeste wasn't at his family home in Texas from these pics. Ooh, someone thinks this was in Texas. Meaning his parents knew. Oh, because it's the inside of the Texas house. Uh-oh. Bodies don't lie, data doesn't lie. David's former landlord takes investigation into death of Celeste Rivas's. Yep, LAPD is silent. That's a funny picture.
Side of the home.
Celeste was living downtown LA, allegedly. The last person to drive the car doesn't mean they're related to Celeste's death. That's also true. Like Steve Fisher said, it could have been someone that was paid to move the car or hired to move the car, or someone working on his team, or someone maybe who had no idea. I don't know. His brother knew for sure. Is he even a good artist? I do like some of his songs, I must say. It will be hard to find a cause of death. Manner of death is homicide. I'm going to go to the next public meet the attorney does. I'm going to interview him. Oh, that would be interesting. I think it was him and a friend or two who helped cover it up. Fly and Wordy says, also, is it possible a Tesla frunk is so airtight it holds in the smell? Yuck. If not him, who else benefits from his success if David goes down as a PDF file? That's a good question. Yeah, this is true. Unfortunately, musicians have been taking advantage of children for decades. Yes. Justin Bieber. Okay. So I think that was all of the most recent updates. I have gone through the timeline in depth in other lives. So definitely check out the David playlist. I have, I think, 3 lives previously to this one. So posted, and we go through that Reddit. It's been an ongoing one that I actually like, that has good information. And then I did go through a deep timeline of the case. There has to be somebody who knew her and knows something. In the parents' home, no way. Or in Texas. No, I think that she went and visited, but I don't think she was unalive there. Okay, well, we're definitely going to stay up to date with this David case. I hope that Ismaili After Dark members only. It's not when it first goes live, but then it does become members only. And we will be live later today. Yes, we will. So turn on your notifications. Please give me a like on the way out. I will see you guys shortly. I have a couple lives planned for the end of the day. I'm going to eat some food and then I'll be back with you guys. I'll definitely keep you updated on the David case and the newest updates as they come out. Thank you for being here. And like I said, please make sure you hit the like button on the way out, and I'll see you shortly on the next one. Bye.